President, constituents of mine are hearing today that there is a looming government shutdown, that by Friday midnight, if Congress hasn't passed a spending bill, that it's possible that government could shut down. That would be a big mistake. Government shutdowns do not make sense. We have legislation called End Government Shutdown, by the way, which would say when Congress doesn't do their appropriations bills on time, which is never or rarely, that there should not be a shutdown, but rather continue the spending from the previous year, but ratchet it down over time to give the Appropriations Committee and the Congress the incentive to get their job done. But let's not shut down government. By the way, when we have done that, it hasn't helped anybody. It doesn't help us as taxpayers because we end up coming back and paying people, and the inefficiencies of it create even more costs. So I would hope we're not even talking about that. But in the so-called continuing resolution, which is a short-term spending bill, which again is not the best way to govern, but it's what our choice is, in that continuing resolution to keep government from shutting down, there is also, as I understand it, going to be something that's very good for our country. And so one, shutting down doesn't make sense, but two, let's be sure that the short-term spending bill that we do pass includes something really important to about 219,000 children in my home state of Ohio, in millions of children's families around the country that depend on a program called the Children's Health Insurance Program, CHIP. CHIP has traditionally been a bipartisan program. It's supported by Democrats and Republicans alike. In fact, the reauthorization of the Children's Health Insurance Program, CHIP, came out of the Finance Committee with a vote that was unanimous, Republicans and Democrats alike. Again, that doesn't happen often. It happened because people believe it's important to have that safety net program for our kids and for those families. Right now, that program is really on life support. We are told that if we do not extend that program, that some states will begin running out of money even in the next few weeks. One of those states could be Ohio, we're told. The numbers are not exactly accurate, I don't think, because nobody knows, and that makes it very unpredictable and uncertain for those families and children. But we know that there are states running out of money right now. By the way, the program ended in September, and since September 30th, it's been given these short-term authorizations. That doesn't make sense. So my understanding is that the House of Representatives is going to actually put into the continuing resolution they're going to send over here a longer-term extension of the Children's Health Insurance Program. In fact, a 6-year extension, which would be the longest extension ever. And I think that would be really important. I've heard from some families last week in Ohio who are wondering, are you guys going to actually provide us the certainty we need to be able to know that we can continue to have our kids receive the treatment they are getting? These are children that have serious health problems that need that kind of care, and they rely on CHIP to be able to provide it. So for all the disagreements we have in this chamber, and there are plenty of them, there'll be a healthy and spirited debate on lots of issues later today, I'm sure. This is one, the Children's Health Insurance Program, that typically has been one where we can come together and agree that children should have that basic health care. I came to the Senate floor last month, back in December, to strongly urge my colleagues on both sides of the aisle and urge the leadership on my side of the aisle and that side to take the politics out of this thing and just get CHIP done, get the long-term authorization done in the last spending bill. Now, that was not done. In fact, there was just a short-term extension of CHIP that basically coincides with the spending bills. That, to me, was disappointing, and I said so at the time. It was not done last time. That was a mistake. Now we have the opportunity to do it. Let's take that opportunity. I'm here to once again say, let's act to provide that long-term stability in the program. And again, I'm encouraged by what I hear that the House of Representatives is likely to include that and include that stability to ensure children everywhere can receive adequate and affordable health care. The House 6-year extension would also return CHIP to a traditional federal-state partnership, which again has been a bipartisan effort, and provide additional protections for low-income children and more flexibility for the states. So there are some changes to the program, some reforms to the program that have been, again, bipartisan through committee, and I'm hopeful that that will be part of it as well. The House bill that includes this CHIP extension would be the longest extension, again, since the creation of the program more than 20 years ago. So instead of these short-term ones, we're going to be able to have a long-term extension if we can pass this. And by the way, by doing it long-term, the Congressional Budget Office says we actually save taxpayers $1 billion. So by having that predictability and that certainty, not having the stop-and-start nature of CHIP, it actually saves taxpayer money. Is this CR perfect in terms of health care? No, there are other things we should do as well, and we can do that with regard to the longer-term spending bill that we would probably be doing a couple weeks from now or a few weeks from now or whenever we are going to come to the end of whatever the continuing resolution is tomorrow. We do need to find long-term funding solutions for community health centers, for instance. And again, that has been bipartisan in the past. These centers have been very effective in dealing with issues that relate to our communities and health issues like opioid addiction. The community health centers have been very helpful in providing treatment to people, particularly in rural areas who don't have access to other health care treatment centers. And we should provide them with that long-term funding and certainty. I hope my colleagues on the other side of the aisle will vote to extend these important health insurance programs for our children. Again, CHIP stands for Children's Health Insurance Program, should not be a bargaining chip for other political purposes. Let's get that done. It's a chance for everybody to ensure that we have that certainty for our children, help them be able to live up to their God-given potential in life.